Botanical Garden. Good day, Wisconsin.
Balanced news and severe weather coverage. This is Fox 11 News Good Day Wisconsin.
Can't think of a good reason that everybody says, yeah, okay, I understand why the former president would take this incredibly classified information home with him.
Donald Trump maintains his innocence as others find fault amid the Mar-a-Lago investigation.
A problem has sprouted up among tomato farmers in California.
It is 6 o'clock on your Sunday. Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Gabriela Primus.
And I'm Phil DeCastro.
And am I hearing that there's a couple of raindrops around northeast Wisconsin this morning?
A few, but for the most part, we're pretty dry. At the moment, you can see there have been some scattered thunderstorms, mainly up across our northwestern counties. But this morning, it looks like maybe just a couple of raindrops trying to form up around the Fox Valley. But I think it's later this morning and into the early afternoon that we really start to see some more scattered showers and storms develop. 64 in Orlando, Cam, you can already see quite a bit of cloud cover out that way, and it is going to be turning more humid today too. We'll get more on this coming up in just a bit.
New this morning from Fond du Lac, police are investigating a shooting that happened just after 8 o'clock last night in the area of Family Dollar on West Johnson Street. Officers were driving in the area when they saw a person in the parking lot shooting towards two vehicles. This led to a foot pursuit. They took a 21-year-old male suspect into custody on North Bell Street and later took him to the hospital for injuries related to the foot pursuit. A 32-year-old woman and victim from Fond du Lac arrived at the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. A handgun was recovered during a search of the area. No officers were injured in the incident. The incident remains under investigation. Former President Donald Trump says he did nothing wrong related to the classified documents found at Mar-a-Lago. Trump claims the redacted search warrant affidavit released Friday only bolsters his claim of innocence.
But as Tom Foreman reports, his claim about the documents is part of a pattern of legal trouble.
They illegally raided my home and took things that should not have been taken. My top secret documents, mine. From the get-go, the former president has heavily implied the FBI seizure was not to protect public records, but to plunder his private property. And allies have rushed to his side, laying into the Justice Department.
Every thing they do is intended to weaken the Republican Party.
But if Trump had a legal or legitimate right to hold on to highly secret government documents, to intermingle them with his other papers in a Florida resort, as the affidavit says, why was that not made clear before it all reached this point?
I can't think of a good reason that everybody says, yeah, okay, I understand why the former president would take this incredibly classified information home with him.
I'm going to bomb the out of him. It's true. I don't care.
The thing is, Trump has a long history of making everything about him.
I will build a great, great wall.
And laying personal claim to public assets. For example, repeatedly talking about my generals, my military.
My generals are going to keep us so safe. And what I do is I authorize my military.
My generals and my military.
Some people close to the armed forces pushed back.
Our defense system belongs to the country. And it's not the president's military. It's the military of the United States of America.
But this tendency has appeared time and again on the campaign trail.
Look at my African American over here. Look at him.
Dealing with the pandemic.
I said to my people, slow the testing down, please.
And on January 6th, when witnesses say Trump repeatedly referred to the mob descending on the Capitol as my people.
Members of Congress are waiting on a damage assessment on the top secret documents taken from Mar-a-Lago. A director of national intelligence has sent a letter to the House of Intelligence and House Oversight Committee chairs saying the review is underway. Committee chairs Adam Schiff and Carolyn Maloney are urging intelligence officials to complete the assessment quickly. According to the affidavit released Friday, the FBI found 92 secret documents and 25 marked top secret. That was among other confidential files. Because some of the files included human intelligence, there was a concern that some foreign spies could be in jeopardy because of the lack of security at Mar-a-Lago.
Police detained 8 people after a shooting near the back loading area of a Walmart outside San Antonio, Texas. The shooting happened around 2 yesterday afternoon. Police say a suspect ran through the back loading area of the Walmart and everyone in the store was evacuated. Store employees say they heard the gunshots inside, but police later found no evidence of shots fired in the store. Police found the man in the store and without a gun. 5 juvenile suspects and 3 adult suspects were detained, I should say. Charges are still being processed at this time.
An off-duty FBI police officer was involved in a Washington, D.C. shooting. The shooting happened yesterday afternoon around 1:30. A spokesperson for the Metropolitan Police Department says that no one was injured. The Bureau's Inspection Division will review the circumstances that led to the shooting as part of its standard practice. In a statement, the FBI says it takes all shooting incidents involving our personnel seriously.
President Joe Biden is facing backlash from both sides of the aisle over his student loan announcement. Criticism is picking up as analysts say it'll cost $1 trillion. And it comes as President Biden is still optimistic about the state of the economy, but he may be at odds with the Federal Reserve Chairman. Lucas Tomlinson brings us a closer look.
The Federal Reserve Chairman says he will be forced to continue raising interest rates to help bring down historic inflation. That sent the markets tumbling, the Dow losing over 1,000 points Friday.
While higher interest rates, slower growth, and softer labor market conditions will bring down inflation, they will also bring some pain to households and businesses. These are the unfortunate costs of reducing inflation. But a failure to restore price stability would mean far greater pain.
Estimates vary widely on how much that student debt relief will cost the American taxpayer. The White House says $240 billion. Some experts think it will cost twice that amount. The University of Pennsylvania says it could cost over $1 trillion. The White House pushed back on that last estimate.
This is paid for. It is paid for and far more by the amount of deficit reduction that we're already on track for this year.
The Nonpartisan Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget disagrees with the White House. Quote, it will likely cost more than double the amount saved. 8 Democrats have said publicly they do not support President Biden's student debt relief plan. All of them running in critical races in swing states this fall. Many don't want the president to campaign with them. President Biden defended his plan to use taxpayer dollars to pay for the student loans.
This is not going to cause inflation, number one. Number two, it will generate economic growth. It brings a lot of people up. It's going to grow the economy. We still have a way to go, but I'm optimistic.
A former economist under President Obama says President Biden's student debt relief plan is like throwing gasoline on the inflationary fire. At the White House, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
Right now, tracking some shower and storm activity moving past northeast Wisconsin, but not a whole lot right in our neck of the woods. That does, however, start to change as we get on through the day today. I think lots of clouds around early. Then we start to see some of those scattered showers and storms redeveloping as we get to around midday. I think the afternoon, a little unsettled, the scattered showers and storms continuing into the early evening before I think we see a little bit of a lull in the wet weather as we get into the late afternoon, or I'm sorry, the late evening hours and into right around midnight. Severe weather index is in the low category, though. Not expecting any severe weather with these showers and storms. I think the main threat with any of this weather is going to be some heavy rain, potentially torrential rain, moving through with these storms. Now, at the moment, there's not a whole lot going on. Our storm tracker pretty quiet. We have been watching some thunderstorms up through Lang, Lake Forest, Florence County. Those now starting to lift on off to the north. But if you notice, bottom left-hand corner of your screen, some more rain starting to build out toward La Crosse, and I think eventually that's where we start to see some rain push in. So according to our future track, there you see a lot of clouds around initially, and then as we get to around midday, that's when we see some scattered showers and, yeah, probably some thunderstorms mixed in at times. That activity continues on and off at times through the afternoon. There you see still some thunderstorms lingering around for dinner time, but as we stop this around 8, 9 o'clock, you can see that's what I'm talking about, a little lull in the action. So I think as you're starting to go to bed this evening, things should be fairly quiet, but don't be surprised if you hear some rumbles of thunder as you start out the day tomorrow. Looks like we'll have a complex of thunderstorms roll its way across Wisconsin during the early morning hours. I think this might be a little late when it comes to that arrival. I'm thinking most of this activity is out of here by the sun comes up, or by the time the sun comes up tomorrow, but you get the picture. We're going to be seeing a round of early morning thunderstorms, and that should be the last chance that we have for quite some time for any organized rain. Right now, we're seeing a lot of clouds in the area, temperatures kind of hovering in the low low and mid-60s. Dew points not too high just yet. They're kind of hovering around 60 degrees or in the low 60s. But as we work through the day today, those dew points are going to start to climb. Taking a wider view of our weather, you see all that rain still sitting off to our south and west. And it's along this boundary that we're going to be seeing that rain start to lift through today along a warm front that slips up and past us over the course of the day today. Now, eventually, we see a cold front pass its way on through the area on Monday. That brings in some more comfortable air, but over the meantime, staying unsettled, and it's going to be very muggy from this afternoon, likely through the early afternoon tomorrow. So a wider view shows the scattered showers and storms at times over the course of this afternoon and into the early evening. Bit of a lull this evening before thunderstorms roll in from the west during the overnight. I don't think they arrive until after about 2, 3 in the morning. Should be out of here by the time we get to 6 or 7 in the morning. And then through tomorrow, no worse than partly cloudy skies, but it'll be breezy. And initially, still pretty humid before we see drier air sweeping in to the area as we head into the rest of the week. So those dew points, looking at our future track, you can see they're going to be well up into the 60s for the most part the entire time through this afternoon, all the way through tomorrow, right around midday. But then we see that drier air start to drive in through the rest of tomorrow afternoon, and it will be very comfortable moving forward from there. For today, a high temperature getting up. I think we only top out actually around 78 degrees for your high. Scattered showers and storms. It is going to be more humid today. For tonight, a low temperature only down to about 69. It's going to be very muggy tonight. Cloudy skies with a chance for storms late. And then for tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, but I think we're dry, just still kind of muggy. A high temperature of 85. But that more comfortable air comes sweeping in through the rest of the week. And look at that stretch of weather. Going to be tough to see much in the way of any sort of wet weather. Temperatures should be near normal, and it should be very comfortable as we close out August and head into the start of September.
Farmers are now warning a drought in California will likely continue impacting prices for tomatoes and tomato-based products. Kelly O'Grady explains their biggest concern.
Well, not everyone might be a fan of your average tomato, but there's no shortage of favorite foods where it's the main ingredient, right? We got your ketchup, your salsa, your pizza sauce. But the drought here in California is now threatening those as well. Farmers are experiencing the worst conditions in 1,200 years. Over 99% of the state is in drought, 43% in extreme or exceptional conditions. Now that's a problem. California accounts for about 1/4 of the world's tomatoes, over 90% in the U.S. Farmers, they're seeing 10 to 20% short of the acreage they were expecting to plant. You can see, it's kind of dry here. This farm is seeing less than 50%. That's going to hit your wallet soon.
We're going to see processing tomato prices increasing over the next couple of seasons due to this reduction in tomato acreage. So consumers are most likely to see these impacts actually up and down the aisles of the supermarket for things like salsa and ketchup and other processed foods like that rely on tomatoes grown in California.
And that's on top of the current sticker shock already driven by inflation. You see ketchup up 23% versus last year, tomato sauce at 17%. Both, by the way, above average grocery store inflation. Now, it's unlikely you'll see those items go out of stock, but those rising prices won't just impact you. They'll impact small businesses like your local pizza joint. Now, tomato processors are preemptively raising prices by as much as 80% in some cases, and that squeezes margins on your favorite slice of pepperoni. Just because you're seeing increased prices doesn't mean that translates into profits for the farmers. So when they're dealing with the uncertainty of this rainfall, it's hard to weather those challenges on top of everything else costing more. So when it comes to drought, it doesn't just impact whether you can water your lawn, it's also going to impact where your food comes from. Kelly O'Grady for Fox Business.
Two familiar high school football teams faced off for their first time since playoffs. How the competition fared and who took home the win. Next in sports. You're watching Good Day Wisconsin.
You're watching Fox 11 News Good Day Wisconsin with Gabriella Primus and Phil DeCastro.
Here's a look at Appleton, all those gray skies out there, but for now it is dry. The only thing is it's probably not going to be staying dry. We'll see scattered showers and some storms pushing through at times, especially through the afternoon. High temperatures topping out in the upper 70s.
That's what I love about a high school football Friday night.
Well, it seems like every year
year, St. Mary's Springs Academy and Darlington are either playing each other to get to the state championship or battling for a title in Camp Randall. Most recently, the Ledgers erased a 24-point deficit, scoring 35 unanswered points to beat them in the semifinals. Saturday, the two meeting in Fond du Lac in an early non-conference contest. Head coach Bob Hyland with the most wins in state history, coming in 8 short of 500. Scoreless until the final minute of the first when J.T. Koning with the stretch and keeps the knee up. 7-yard touchdown puts Springs in the lead. Darlington, though, quickly answer it into the breadbasket of Maddox Goebel, the sophomore causing Highland many headaches yesterday. Redbirds led 12-7 at the half. Holding the Ledgers offense in check until this, Koning's bursting out for a 66-yarder, and that will put Springs up 2 points headed into the final quarter. 8 minutes left now. And Darlington sophomore standout Goebel again taking the INT back for a go-ahead touchdown, but Springs' defense gets the ball back with 3 minutes left, and then Levi Hempner runs the touchdown in. The final lead change of the afternoon. 20-18, Springs comes away with the win, and you can bet these two will probably meet again by the time state championships roll around.
These are what you play for. This is what you work for, set up. These are games you need early in the year to get you ready for the wars that are coming up. They were physical. When we had to, we stopped them. I think this will really set us up for the rest of the year.
We knew the whole week there's going to be a dogfight. I told the team, we've seen these guys before. We know how hard they hit. It's just like running into a brick wall. We got a bunch of guys who like to fight.
What a win and a courting celebration after by that Springs team. If you missed any of the action from Friday night's high school game time as well, you can check out all of those highlights on our website, fox11online.com.
It's your last chance to check out a popular art event in Northeast Wisconsin today.
Yeah, look at the unique and one-of-a-kind pieces that you're going to be able to see at Art Street. Good Day, Wisconsin. We'll be right back. Here's looking at our Marinette weather camera. It's being a little glitchy right now, but it'll pop up in a second here, or it should. There we go. I knew you could do it, Marinette. We're going to be seeing cloudy skies initially today, 63 degrees at the moment, but as we start to work on through the afternoon, scattered showers and some thunderstorms become a little bit more likely.
Happening today, it's your last chance to check out a popular art event in Northeast Wisconsin. Emily Deem spent some time at Art Street and has more. Hi there, Em.
Good morning, everyone. One day left to check out Art Street here at Ashwaubenon Park in Ashwaubenon. New location this year. We are talking to Dan Fenn. Yeah, he's not new to Art Street. Been coming out here for, what, about 30 years on and off. Why do you keep coming back?
Great customers. Love Green Bay, great people, great restaurants, great bars, great art shows. Always.
Keep going, man.
Great stuff here. That's why I come back.
It really is. Talking about great stuff, the artwork that you have out here. So you're a glass artist. You knew that you wanted to do this when you were a kid. And what we're looking at right now is kind of what you're known for. So kind of talk about the pieces you have.
And these are for the garden. I leave them outside year-round. They're awesome, more awesome in the wintertime than they are in the summertime. And each one of them's handmade. They're made in midair. I don't use any molds, so they're all one of a kind.
Tell our viewers about that, what it's like to blow glass. It is unbelievable, right?
Yeah, it's magic, really. The glass is molten, of course, and it's really hot, and it's very demanding, and you have to do what you're going to do as quick as you can, because as it cools off, it stiffens up, and you don't end up with a good finished result, usually broken.
Well, I was going to say each one is probably unique, one of a kind.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Your wife, Deb, works with you. She's by your side 24/7. What is that like to have your wife travel all over with you?
That's awesome. I wouldn't spend any other time with anybody else in the world except for her. It's great.
Well, your stuff is great. You both do such a wonderful job. You can meet Dan out here at Art Street. We'll send it back to you.
Now it's time to check in with Phil out on our weather deck. Phil, how's the weather going to be for people who might want to go to Arch Street today?
I would go early, and I would try to go before we start to get to about 11 o'clock or noon, because that's when I think we're going to start to see the rain chances picking back up today. It's a dry start. It's actually not too bad, fairly comfortable. I see some peaks of blue sky in between the clouds overhead, but I think we'll be seeing more clouds than anything else for the rest of the morning. You can see at the moment there's nothing really going on our storm tracker. 64 right now on our Fieldhouse cam, but as we start to get through the late morning and into midday, the chance for showers and storms starts to pick up again. We'll have more Good Day Wisconsin coming up right after the break.
Hi, from Vandy Walls Candies in Appleton. Good day, Wisconsin.
Balanced news and severe weather coverage. This is Fox 11 News Good Day Wisconsin.
Children has contact with somebody who's infected, they're going to get infected.
Doctors share their concerns of children contracting monkeypox as they head back to school.
How 3 men were honored in Oshkosh after going above and beyond the call of duty.
It is just about 6:30 on your Sunday. Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Gabriela Primus.
And I'm Phil DeCastro.
And Phil, I was planning on going to Arch Street yesterday, but there was a little bit of drizzle, so I was like, you know what? I'll wait until today, but you're saying before 11 is the best time.
Yeah, I would say, right, before 11 o'clock to be safe. We might get lucky and it might hold off until noon, but I would say head out in the next few hours here as early as you can, because that's the only time frame that I can really guarantee that we'll see some dry weather. 68 degrees in Sturgeon Bay, and you can see it's dry, just rather overcast. That's kind of the story initially. As we head into the afternoon, scattered showers and storms become a little more likely. Highs today along the Door Peninsula, probably topping out in the mid-70s. Elsewhere, we'll hit the upper 70s.
New this morning from Fond du Lac, police are investigating a shooting that happened just after 8 o'clock last night in the area of the Family Dollar on West Johnson Street. Officers were driving in the area when they saw a person in the parking lot shooting towards 2 vehicles. This led to a foot pursuit. They took a 21-year-old male suspect into custody on North Bell Street and later was taken to the hospital for injuries related to the foot pursuit. A 32-year-old woman and victim from Fond du Lac arrived at the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. A handgun was recovered during a search of the area. No officers were injured. The incident remains under investigation. The risk of contracting monkeypox remains low for school-aged children, but with more than a dozen reported, confirmed, or probable cases in younger kids, schools, colleges, and universities are on alert. Mandy Gaither brings us a closer look at what can be done to protect against the virus.
In the U.S., more than 16,000 people have confirmed or probable monkeypox infections. Almost all are in adults.
But the transmission of this virus typically occurs by skin-to-skin contact. And if, a children has contact with somebody who's infected, they're going to get infected.
While the risk of monkeypox for school-age children remains low, 17 confirmed or probable cases among kids younger than 15 have been reported to the CDC. This week in Newton County, Georgia, a confirmed case in an elementary school student. Another student at a different school in the district is also being tested. School system officials saying employees will thoroughly clean and disinfect classrooms and other areas at both schools.
I think we don't need to panic about this. I think we need to stay informed. But the cases in children, as you already said, are less than 1% of the total cases that we see.
For extra protection, health experts say parents can familiarize yourself with the symptoms. Keep children home if they have a fever and rash. Talk to your pediatrician since several illnesses cause fever and rash. Wash hands and clean and disinfect surfaces. When it comes to colleges and universities, the CDC has launched a new landing page with monkeypox resources.
We have a whole protocol in place to help people be evaluated.
The CDC and members of the White House's monkeypox response team met virtually with colleges and university officials last week. It was on how to keep higher education institutions safe this fall.
A new CDC study found one-time hookups account for about half of monkeypox transmissions. The modeling study specifically looked at disease spread among men who have sex with other men. It found that although one-time sexual partnerships represent a small percentage of the total relationships studied, they accounted for more than half of a monkeypox transmission. A separate CDC study published last week found that about half of men who have sex with men are changing their behaviors in order to try to stay safe during this outbreak.
The factory that many blame for the infant formula shortage has resumed production of Similac. It's the first time the popular infant formula has been back in production since February. The Abbott plant in Sturgis, Michigan, was originally closed after an FDA inspection detected potentially deadly bacteria. There was an attempt to restart production this summer at the factory after it flooded during severe thunderstorms. Abbott believes it will take about 6 weeks for the new formula to begin shipping to retailers.
First Lady Jill Biden remains in isolation in Delaware this weekend following a rebound case of COVID-19. The First Lady tested positive for the virus a second time last week. A White House official says that Biden hasn't had a repeat, though, of the cold-like symptoms she experienced with her first bout of COVID-19. After her initial positive test, I should say, Biden was put on a cycle of the antiviral drug Paxlovid, which can trigger a rebound case in some people. A spokesperson for the First Lady says it's likely she can end her isolation protocols tomorrow before a return to Washington.
Unvaccinated adults are 3 times as likely to be hospitalized with COVID-19 than those who were vaccinated. That's according to a study published Friday by the CDC, which reviewed hospital data between March and May of 2022. The research also shows a growing share of hospitalizations among vaccinated adults as the virus changes. During the original Omicron wave, just 16% of hospital patients were vaccinated. More recently, that was up to 44%. There has also been a sharp increase in hospitalization rates for people over the age of 65. The CDC is urging Americans who are eligible to get their boosters and to get early access to Paxlovid if they become ill.
A 37-year-old woman and prison supervisor at Racine Correctional Institution has been arrested for allegedly having repeated sexual encounters with an inmate in her office. Investigators received allegations last week that she was having an inappropriate relationship with an inmate, and then they also learned that she gave the inmate a cell phone and found photos and messages that supported the allegations. Investigators confronted the supervisor on Thursday, and she's being held in the Racine County Jail on a $1.1 million cash bail.
A southern Wisconsin man is speaking out after his car was hit by a man being chased by police. The man says he's so thankful that his 8-month pregnant girlfriend who was with him in the car wasn't hurt in the hit and run last week. But they're both still in shock after the incident.
Kind of speechless, I guess.
One look at Jesus Gonzalez's car is all it takes to see why.
Maybe if I wasn't paying attention, I would have probably had like some back problems or something.
Gonzalez was driving with his girlfriend on East Washington Avenue Wednesday night when all of a sudden...
I look at my rearview mirror and I see like, I think it was like a black Dodge Ram, just like flying through, and then I mean, I didn't think much of it at first. I saw the sparks like just leaving all the way down East Wash.
Seconds later, that truck smashed right into the back of Gonzalez's car. The driver, who police say stole the truck, got in 2 other crashes before eventually running from the scene.
I don't think it's fixable anymore.
His car doesn't matter as much as something else. Jesus's girlfriend is 8 months pregnant. That made this chase and crash even scarier.
She was that shocked because she didn't see it coming, and I don't know, it just happened like pretty quick.
Shocked, stunned, but thankful to still be able to speak and warn all of us what happened to him could have happened to you.
Just keep an eye out, I guess.
Police are looking for a man who they say was wearing a dark clothing and a mask. They also confirmed that one person was injured in one of those crashes.
Quiet to start things out today, but a lot of clouds out there, and eventually we're going to start to see some of this rain that mostly so far has been missing us out to the west, move into our neck of the woods. All more details on that coming up in just a minute.
Take a look at this. It's not your typical bird sighting in an airport. A traveler at the Charlotte Douglas International Airport in North Carolina caught this scene. In a tweet, the Transportation Security Administration says the bird named Clark is part of the World Bird Sanctuary. The eagle was born there as part of the program that aimed to release the then endangered birds into the wild. The bald eagles were removed from the endangered list in 2007, but remain protected by a pair of government acts.
So wait, like the eagle, did the eagle like escape? Oh, he's just traveling.
He's just traveling. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's just traveling, you know.
Gotcha.
Normal bald eagle stuff.
Do you think the eagle had to like take off its like shoes and belt?
Oh, probably. I mean,
what do you do about the claws?
We have to. He has to.
Like, I feel like you can't even have like certain like types of keys on your keychain. Like the eagle's got talons.
That's true.
I mean, what happens if that eagle gets uppity?
We don't want him to take off his shoes.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Keep those little booties on.
What an interesting sight.
I don't know what I would think.
A lot of animals in airports. Yesterday we had the story of the dogs in the airport.
I know, right? Yeah. You know, imagine you're in the airport. You're like, oh, I just don't want to get stuck behind a whole bunch of kids. And then you see an eagle ahead of you. I don't know how I would feel about that. Definitely a little different there. Pretty quiet to start things out today. A lot of clouds around, but on the radar, we're not seeing too much happening. A lot of rain and thunderstorm activity out to our west. It did brush past some of our northwestern counties earlier this morning, but for the most part, we're dry right now. But later this morning, probably a little bit closer to midday, we'll start to see some showers and storms enter our neck of the woods. We're starting out in the mid-60s at the moment. Temperatures do claw their way up into the upper 70s around midday, but I think some of the showers and storms that we'll see around, not raining the entire time this afternoon, but we'll see that scattered activity on and off. I think that kind of puts a lid on temperatures a bit and stifles them into the upper 70s. I would think without the showers and storms, we would probably be up into the low 80s. We're just not quite going to get there. So we kind of stall out, as I mentioned, mid to upper 70s for your highs. Severe weather index is low. Showers and thunderstorms are likely at times today and again late tonight, but thankfully I'm not expecting a whole lot of threat from severe weather. Some of the stronger storms could pack some gusty winds, but I think the biggest threat for us is going to be the potential for some torrential rain with any of these heavier thunderstorms. Looking at our rain chances today, I think the best chance is going to start to come once we get into the afternoon hours. You might start to see a few showers just before that, but it's primarily over the second half of the day. A little bit of a lull this evening, so as you're heading to bed, I think things will be fairly quiet, just kind of cloudy overhead. But once we get into the early morning hours tomorrow, there's a chance for another complex of thunderstorms sweeping in from the west. That one we might have to keep an eye on for some gusty winds as it moves through, but I think it's going to be kind of falling apart as it arrives. It's out here by the time Monday morning gets here, and Monday itself should be dry. And there's also going to be some other changes coming behind this chance for rain and storms today and tonight. Things should dry out headed into the work week, and it's going to turn much more comfortable. After a very muggy afternoon today and a muggy start to the day on Monday, dry air starts to sweep in behind the storm system, and it's going to be very nice through the rest of this work week. We just got to get through the next couple days. Right now, as I mentioned, we're sitting in the mid-60s across most of the state. A lot of clouds out there and some rain that's out to our west. Center of the storm system's actually way off to the north, so we've been kind of dealing with the southern end of this, and eventually it is going to lift toward us. So scattered showers and some thunderstorms at times today as that humid air starts to move its way on in. Through the overnight hours, again, there you see that little bit of a lull initially, but I think a system or a complex of storms sweeps in from the west as we get through the overnight hours and to start the day tomorrow. But once we get through tomorrow afternoon, that's when those frontal boundaries start to move their way on past and bring in that more comfortable air. So for today, high of 78, scattered showers and storms possible, becoming more humid. For tonight, a muggy night. A lot of clouds out there, chance for more thunderstorms late overnight. And then for tomorrow, I think we end up seeing just partly cloudy skies, but we're going to still be very humid until we start to hit the evening when I think we really start to feel that drier air move in. And look at this extended forecast. We're going to be seeing a really, really nice stretch of late summer weather headed through the rest of next week, potentially even into next weekend, which, oh, by the way, Labor Day weekend. So if things hold, looks like that could be pretty nice.
3 service members who died in Iraq were honored in the Fox Valley. A new monument was unveiled for them yesterday in Oshkosh. Fox 11's Lydia Anderson shows us the memorial service for the fallen soldiers.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light
those who fought for our freedoms and lost their lives. This memorial serves as a promise to remember.
Sergeant Andrew Wallace, Private First Class Brent Vroman, and Captain Benjamin Jansky will forever be remembered with this monument at the South Park Memorial Complex. The three servicemen were all in their 20s when they lost their lives fighting in Operation Iraqi Freedom.
We don't remember whether they were PFCs or whether they were general officers. We remember Brent. We remember Andrew. We remember Ben. We remember a wrestler, a gym teacher, a father.
All three of these men had special connections to the city of Oshkosh.
Vroman was born in Oshkosh. Jansky was from Illinois but attended UW Oshkosh. Wallace also attended UW Oshkosh and was a teacher at Oshkosh North. President of Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 437, Dwayne Cannon, says this monument was a long time coming, and it's time to honor them.
I brought the idea up to him last year, and so something had to be done, and so our chapter worked very hard to get this organized. It takes time, and so it was a great honor to do it for these three individuals.
Each serviceman had family members from all over present that were able to take part in the unveiling.
It is so that we remember what these folks did for us. The sacrifice not only of the soldier or the Marine or the sailor or the airman, but the sacrifice of the families left behind.
In Oshkosh, Lydia Anderson, Fox 11 News.
This is the first monument at the South Park Memorial Complex for the Gulf War and the War on Terrorism. If you were driving between Bellevue and Grand Chute, you might have seen a parade of police lights yesterday afternoon. It was the 4th annual Law Enforcement Ride with the Lights event. 32 police departments took part in the ride, along with a large group of motorcycle riders and classic car enthusiasts. It's a show of support for law enforcement, but also a fundraiser for gift cards to help those in need during the holidays.
Whether it's a homeless man on the streets, we have homeless veterans living in their cars in the wintertime where they can't even keep them gassed up, all the way to families in need that can't afford Christmas presents.
Between this event and others, the goal is to raise $200,000 for the holidays. NASA's latest rocket is getting ready to blast off tomorrow in Florida.
A look at the Artemis rocket and why it's the most powerful ever built when Good Day Wisconsin returns. 65 in Shawano, very gray overhead. That's the case in most of northeast Wisconsin this morning. We're going to be getting up to a high in the upper 70s. A couple stray showers and storms as we work through the afternoon. So if you want to do anything outside, I would try to do it this morning.
The Artemis 1 rocket is on the launching pad, ready to blast off towards the moon tomorrow. NASA's quest to return Americans to the moon comes as modern-day exploration is more privatized.
Yeah, Kristen Fisher takes us inside that mission this morning.
It's been a long time since NASA's had its own candle to light.
Lift off.
11 years since the last space shuttle launch. 50 years since the last launch of the Apollo program.
The Challenger has landed.
But now, Apollo's mythological twin sister, Artemis, is on the launch pad and ready to fly.
To all of us that gaze up at the moon, dreaming of the day humankind returns to the lunar surface, folks, we're here.
The Artemis rocket, or SLS, is years behind schedule, billions over budget. But it's also the most powerful rocket ever built, and it's designed to launch people even deeper into space than the moon.
Our sights are not set on the moon. Our sights are set clearly on Mars.
But first, it has to pass this uncrewed test flight with only mannequins on board. Artemis 1 will launch from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, but mission control is at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas.
This is Apollo Control, Houston.
The same place that controlled every Apollo and shuttle mission.
This is where it all happens as far as human spaceflight.
Rick LeBrode is in charge of it all as lead flight director. LeBrode and his team have been training in this room for this moment for over 3 years.
When flight day comes, it's a whole different ballgame. It's when it really gets real.
After launch, the SLS rocket will separate from the Orion crew capsule on top. Orion will then fly 250,000 miles to the moon and then go 40,000 miles beyond it, farther than any spacecraft designed to carry humans has ever flown.
We're going to swing by the moon, and when we swing by it on the way there, we're going to be 60 miles off the surface. It's going to be incredible. The pictures we get as we go by are going to be really impressive.
After orbiting the moon for more than 2 weeks, Orion will head back to Earth, hitting speeds of around 25,000 miles per hour and temperatures half the surface of the sun, something engineers can't replicate here on Earth.
The number one highest priority for our mission is actually to test the heat shield.
Liftoff of Space Shuttle Columbia.
It was a damaged heat shield that caused Space Shuttle Columbia to burn up on re-entry, killing 7 astronauts. So testing it before astronauts fly on Artemis 2 is crucial.
For me, Artemis 1 is exciting, but it's really a stepping stone, a milestone to getting humans back in the vicinity of the moon, and that is awesome.
Victor Glover is one of more than 40 astronauts in the running to fly on Artemis 2 and Artemis 3, which will land the first woman and the first person of color on the moon.
We explore for all people, but now we can actually say we explore with all people.
NASA has set a 2-hour window launch for Artemis 1, starting at 8:33 Eastern Time tomorrow morning. If all goes well, it's going to return to Earth after 42 days, splashing down off the coast of San Diego on October 10th.
Cool.
Yeah.
A hockey game suddenly had to stop in South Carolina.
The 30 crucial seconds that helped turn the day around when Good Day Wisconsin returns. .69 degrees in Manitowoc right now. Lots of clouds there, just like there is across much of the area. We'll see mostly cloudy skies this morning. The chance for thunderstorms starts to pick up as we get to around midday and continues on and off through the afternoon.
A 61-year-old man in South Carolina was in the right place at the right time. Kennedy Buck explains why a hockey game could have taken a turn for the worse.
On March 13th, the North Charleston hockey team Trash Pandas thought it would be just another game at Carolina Ice Palace, until the game suddenly came to a stop when one of their own went into full cardiac arrest.
First thing out of my mouth was, what the heck happened, you know? And Dave said, dude, you were dead for 4 or 5 minutes. I was like, what? He said, yeah, you passed out on the bench and you got revived and they brought you to the hospital. I was like, wow.
Luckily, one of his teammates, Tom Donnelly, and 2 other people jumped into action.
Within 30 seconds, chest compressions were started, which is the most important thing you can do.
Pitts says despite it all, he is grateful where and when the incident happened.
Luckily, everything worked out fantastic. I just really, really lucky. I mean, the stars were aligned. And it was also lucky that it happened at the ice rink, which is only one exit, 2 miles from Triton Medical Center.
He also hopes that by sharing his story, it will save future lives.
It's never too late, and it's important to learn how to do CPR and operate an AED machine because you could save somebody else's life.
Even though Pitts still cannot believe what was going on, hockey was still the first thing on his mind.
Initially, I was a little bit in shock. It took me a while to reorient myself, when I was in the emergency room, because I just kept asking, what happened? And actually, my wife says that I kept asking, did we win?
Through it all, he says he is not hanging up his skates anytime soon.
I'll never quit playing hockey, no matter what.
Triton Hospital now uses Pitts' case for the CPR training class. Pitts made his debut on the ice 2 weeks ago, but had a hard fall and will be out for another 4 to 5 weeks. The next hour of Good Day Wisconsin starts right now.
Hello from Service Motor Company. Good Day, Wisconsin.
Balanced news and severe weather coverage. This is Fox 11 News Good Day Wisconsin.
Today I can arrest them if you sign a complaint for trespassing. January 1st, I'm not going to be able to do that.
A new Illinois law has some people worrying about its possible ramifications.
The governor of Michigan now declaring a state of emergency and what it could mean for fuel prices.
It is 7 o'clock on your Sunday. Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Gabriela Primus.
And I'm Phil DeCastro.
Well, Phil, here's a live look at the Lambo Cam this morning. We got some showers a little bit yesterday and a little bit this morning. But Phil, what can people expect today, especially as some of the weekend events continue?
Yeah, some peaks through the clouds with some sunshine to start things out, but I think in general we'll see more clouds than anything else over the course of this morning, and eventually we're going to start to see some showers and storms moving their way on in from the south and west. You can already see some of those showers starting to pop up down toward the Dells and Baraboo, and we are going to see that activity lift north eventually. I think you've got till around the late morning, call it around 11 o'clock or noon, before you start to see some of those showers and storms develop, but it's primarily this afternoon. Now, there's going to be a little bit of a lull this evening, but more storms are possible overnight. And with this system really starting to approach, it's going to turn more humid today and likely staying on the sticky side on Monday. But moving past this storm system, we have a gorgeous stretch of weather waiting in the wings. And I'll get more on that coming up in just a few minutes.
New this morning from Fond du Lac, police continue to investigate a shooting that happened near West Johnson Street. Officers patrolling the area last night witnessed a person in the parking lot of Family Dollar shooting at two vehicles. Officers were able to arrest the 21-year-old male suspect at gunpoint after a brief chase and later took him to the hospital. A 32-year-old woman later arrived at the emergency room with a gunshot wound. Her injuries are non-life-threatening, but officers do believe it is connected to the parking lot shooting. No officers were injured.
The incident is still under investigation. We'll keep you updated on the air and on our website at fox11online.com. Well, Illinois is now a few months away from a series of controversial new criminal justice reform laws going into effect. Some have championed the decision, but as Craig Wall reports, others say it could have some dire consequences.
The reforms under the Safety Act that eliminate cash bail will open the doors to freedom for many people currently locked up who can't make bail. But Grundy County Sheriff Ken Briley is raising concerns because the law will ban arrests for people accused of certain misdemeanors. He cites trespassing as an example.
Today I can arrest them if you sign a complaint for trespassing. January 1st, I'm not going to be able to do that. The law says I have to write them a ticket and leave.
Sheriff Briley worries about the possible ramifications in his community.
And if we can't arrest them and we can't solve people's problems, we don't want people to take matters into their own hands.
Today, the Grundy County State's attorney raising his own concerns.
When no cash bond applies to every jurisdiction, all 102 counties in the state of Illinois, I'm really concerned about seeing criminal activity that we've never seen in this area.
But reform advocates say keeping people locked up simply because they can't afford bail is wrong.
That's just inequitable, that some people get to be free because they have money and other people have to remain incarcerated, which has all kinds of terrible consequences for people's ability to work, for their housing. Their whole families suffer.
They cite what happened to Sandra Bland, who hanged herself in a Texas jail while unable to post bail after a traffic stop, as an example of why bail reform is so important.
Illinois' new law still gives judges the discretion to keep suspects they deem dangerous locked up without bail. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer has declared a state of emergency. This after an electrical fire at a BP refinery in Indiana. Now, the refinery supplies up to 25% of the gasoline used in the state of Michigan and surrounding areas, but that refinery is now offline. It's uncertain when operations will restart. Governor Whitmer's executive order temporarily suspends regulations to increase the state's fuel supply. She hopes it will keep fuel prices from spiking in that state and cut down on gas lines. That order is going to stay in effect until at least September 15th.
The Biden administration making new requests to oil producers, but this appeal comes in contrast to the administration's current energy policy. Aisha Husney has more on the story.
We know we have more work to do, and we'll keep looking for ways to increase gas stockpiles in Europe.
Tonight, the White House says it's going to help our allies take on the global energy crisis, but its policies could make matters worse. In this private letter obtained by Fox News, Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm calls on major U.S. refiners to focus in the near term on building inventories in the United States rather than selling down current stocks and further increasing exports. Granholm argues the U.S. needs to prepare for hurricane season, which can disrupt oil production in the Gulf. Former Energy Secretary Rick Perry doesn't buy it.
That's what the Strategic Petroleum Reserve was set up for, those types of natural disasters. So they're talking out of both sides of their mouth, which is nothing new.
The news couldn't come at a worse time. UK regulators just announced British households will see energy bills spike by 80%, partly due to decreased imports of Russian oil.
Look, I understand there's an election coming in 3 months from now, and I understand that they don't want any shortfalls. They want to keep prices down.
U.S. Oil and Gas Association President Tim Stewart says the move is putting politics over our allies.
It's hypocritical to be promising to our European allies that we'll do everything we can to help them because of the Russian sanctions and then back out at the time when they need us the most.
Gas prices have been dropping here at home, primarily because people are driving less and supply and demand has stabilized some. But industry experts warn cutting exports, as the energy secretary wants, could further stress global supplies and oil prices. In Washington, I'm Aisha Husney, Fox News.
President Biden now facing backlash from both sides over a student loan plan. The criticism comes as we get a better idea of how much it is going to cost taxpayers. The White House says it will cost $240 billion, while experts think it will be more than twice that amount. The University of Pennsylvania estimates it could cost over $1 trillion. White House officials push back against the last estimate.
This is paid for. It is paid for and far more by the amount of deficit reduction that we're already on track for this year.
A former economist under President Barack Obama says the student debt relief plan will also increase inflation.
East Africa is now on the verge of an unprecedented humanitarian catastrophe. The region set to miss its 5th straight rainy season, triggering alarms across the Horn of Africa. Ethiopia, Kenya, and Somalia are already in the midst of a 40-year drought, and 50 million are estimated to be at risk of food insecurity as well, thanks to that drought. Making matters worse, the forecast from October through December shows, quote, high chances of drier than average conditions. Massive protests have erupted in Argentina. Thousands poured into the streets after prosecutors called for the former president and current vice president to receive 12-year prison sentences and a ban from public office. Vice President Kirchner was convicted of alleged corruption. Supporters tore down fences in protest, claiming that she is the victim of judicial persecution. The final decision on sentencing will be made by a judge.
Mississippi is now bracing for massive flooding. Following heavy rainfall and severe storms, people are now prepping for the worst. Some locals are getting life possessions to safety, packing up moving trucks and helping neighbors do the same. The Pearl River is expected to flood over early next week, and officials are telling people in flood-prone areas to be ready to evacuate.
Right now, we're still watching out for the potential for yet another unsettled afternoon. Things are, at the moment, dry. We will be seeing cloudy skies, though, through much of the morning. And I think once we start to get past about 11 o'clock or so, we'll start to see more showers begin to push their way on in from the south. And through the afternoon, a chance for scattered showers and storms from time to time. Now, it's not going to rain that entire time, but at any given point, there will be likely some of us dealing with some scattered downpours out there. Highs today getting into the upper 70s. Temperatures a little suppressed thanks to all the unsettled weather. Severe weather index is down in the low category. Showers and thunderstorms likely at times today, and I think once again as we get through the overnight hours. But at this point, I'm thinking severe weather is fairly unlikely. At the moment, things are pretty dry. Not a whole lot happening on our storm tracker. There have been some showers and storms that have brushed past our northwestern counties, Langlade, Forest, Florence counties, but otherwise, we haven't seen a whole lot happen overnight. But there's quite a bit of rain still off to our southwest, and that activity is going to start to spread on in through the rest of the day today. So stopping this at noon, you see scattered showers will have been pushing in from the south at that point. Maybe a few thunderstorms. I think in general, generally just rain showers. Through the rest of the afternoon, afternoon, there you can see some more thunderstorms potentially bubbling up. I think especially over our central and southern counties, those continuing on off to the north. But once we hit the evening hours, I think we'll see a bit of a lull in the action. I think we're going to be fairly dry from around 7 or 8 o'clock all the way potentially through about 2, 3 in the morning. But once we get into the early morning hours, I'm thinking a complex thunderstorms sweeps on in from the west. That could provide some very heavy rains, maybe some gusty winds. I think it's going to be weakening by the time it gets here, but we'll still have to keep an eye on it. And it is going to be the last bit of rain that we have for maybe quite some time. Looking at our temperatures right now, we're sitting generally in the mid-60s, a mix of clouds and sun overhead. Dew points not too bad just yet. They're kind of hovering in the low 60s. But as we get through this afternoon, those dew points will continue to increase all throughout the day. You can see quite a bit of rain and unsettled weather just lining up on off to our southwest. That's what's going to start to lift its way on into the area. And behind it, a series of cold fronts. That first one probably not doing a whole lot for us, just kind of moving through the chance for some storms. And then I think we finally see some drier air sweep in tomorrow. So for the time being, scattered showers and some thunderstorms over the course of the day today. Tonight, dry in the evening before I think that thunderstorm complex sweeps in during the early morning hours tomorrow. I think it's out of here by 7 or 8 a.m. on Monday. So your Monday generally looking high and dry, just partly cloudy, but still muggy. It's not till Tuesday that I think we see drier and more comfortable air sweep its way on in, and we should stay dry through that time frame as well. So looking at our future track dew points, as they get up into the 60s to near 70 today, very muggy this afternoon and into this evening, stays humid overnight. Tomorrow morning, still very muggy all the way, I think, through the early afternoon. But then look what happens. We see this dry air sweep in from the west. And so I think by tomorrow evening, things should be more comfortable. I don't know about dew points in the 50s, but at the very least, I think they're starting to drop down into the low 60s. And then we continue to see that dry air take hold and remain in place for a while after that. 78 for your high today. Scattered showers and storms, more humid this afternoon. A muggy night today, generally cloudy skies. Chance for more thunderstorms late overnight, a low of 69. And for tomorrow, a high temperature getting up to 85. Partly cloudy, still muggy, especially early on, but I think those dew points start to drop in the evening. We're going to be seeing a very nice stretch of weather. Then after that, beautiful conditions all the way through the rest of the week as we close out August and move into September. Stay tuned. Good Day, Wisconsin. We'll be right back.
You're watching Fox 11 News Good Day, Wisconsin with Gabriella Primus and Phil DeCastro.
.65 right now in Oshkosh. Some sun getting through those clouds right now, but I think we're going to see more clouds than anything else once all is said and done. We'll also see scattered showers and storms start to develop as we work into the later morning hours and through this afternoon. Here's a look at some NFL scores from around the league from the third week of preseason action as we head to break. Good day, Wisconsin. We'll be right back. .66 right now in Marinette. You can see some sunshine making it through the clouds there, but otherwise generally cloudy through the first half of the day. And then we'll see the chance for scattered showers and storms pick up as we work through the afternoon.
A car driven by Princess Diana in the 1980s has now sold for big bucks. This comes just days before the 25th anniversary of her death. The black Ford Escort RS Turbo sold for a whopping $776,000. But the UK buyer did not allow their name to be disclosed. Princess Diana died in a high-speed car crash on August 31st, 1997.
An Egyptian artifact was discovered in a shipment to the U.S. from Europe this month. The find was made by U.S. Customs on August 17th in Tennessee. Experts say that the artifact is the lid of a canopic jar used to hold the internal organs of mummies. The lid dates back to somewhere between 1069 BC and 653 BC. The lid has been turned over to U.S. officials for further examination.
A tale as old as time, a cat chasing a rodent.
Sorry about that. I'm chasing camera shots, but this time it was no ordinary rodent. Jeremy Roth has more on how this all led to officials issuing a public health heads up.
The Cat versus the Bat, a quintessential comic book tale, now a cautionary tale in Washington after a cunning country cat bested a rabid bat, helping to expose a potential community health risk. It started when the Featherstone's family cat, Meowly, was found playing with a critter she captured in their bedroom.
I looked down, I'm like, that doesn't look like a mouse.
More like a flying rat. A bat, and that led to a warning from county health officials who tested the bat, finding it positive for rabies, a first for the year. And while this bat-cat battle may not have been as explosive as its big screen counterpart, it did end on a bit of a cliffhanger. It turns out it was one of 3 bats collected from separate homes on the same day. That led to the county issuing a health alert warning of the risks of bat-borne rabies. As for the Featherstones, they've been immunized and remain healthy, and they owe it all to their purring protector.
Look at there, Meowly saved the day. Now it's time to check in with Phil out in the weather deck. Poor Meowly.
Yeah, well, I know. Hopefully Meowly's feeling all right. And you know what? An effective hunter.
You're right.
Good for Meowly. I can tell you that our cat is useless when it comes to hunting anything. But hey, I guess not all cats are born with it. We are going to be seeing a fairly quiet start to today before we see some more showers and storms developing. At the moment, I'm seeing more clouds than anything else overhead on the weather deck. On our storm tracker, not a whole lot going on either. It's dry for now, but showers and storms eventually will start to move in. 65 right now on a field house camera. And you can see how those rain and storm chances start to pick up as we head toward the middle of the day. They'll be scattered on and off throughout this afternoon. Another chance for some overnight activity before we have a beautiful stretch of weather for the rest of the week. Good Day, Wisconsin. We'll be right back. But first, here's a look at your winning lottery numbers.
At Ledgeview Nature Center in Chilton. Good day, Wisconsin.
Balanced news and severe weather coverage. This is Fox 11 News. Good Day, Wisconsin.
This is a step in the right direction, but there's a lot more things that need to happen.
Uvalde community members still demanding more accountability.
And Google is now trying out a new system to counter misinformation.
Welcome to your Sunday. Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Gabriela Primus.
And I'm Phil DeCastro.
And a little bit of rain coming our way today, but it looks like after today, we're in the clear.
I'm paying attention to you. I'm just trying to surreptitiously put up some graphics because things are misbehaving a little bit. Yeah, that's right.
It's been a bad weekend for that computer.
Don't pay attention to my left hand. We are going to be seeing, yes, some rain showers today. I'm just going to have to use my right hand.
That's okay.
It's not working.
That's all right.
But we've got our Surgeon Bay weather camera here in about 2 seconds, and it's going to come up. It's going to be great. There it is. 69
There's
degrees.
lovely Sturgeon Bay.
Yeah. A lot of clouds overhead today, but it is at least dry, and we're going to be seeing the chance for showers and storms pick up later this afternoon. Temperatures topping out in the mid-70s there. Elsewhere, upper 70s. And after this stretch of unsettled weather, we do have some beautiful weather on the way. It's just not here yet. Well, more on that in a bit.
After weeks of anticipation, we've now seen some of the affidavit used to greenlight the raid of Mar-a-Lago. But the search has generated plenty of political fallout. Scott Thuman gives us a closer look at the reactions.
The sought-after, some say damning legal files finally laid out, albeit only fractions, with much of it redacted. The FBI's case alleging Trump already had seemingly illegally in his possession 184 confidential documents even prior to the August search and seizure. While it's possible criminal charges could come next, in the meantime, the impact going well beyond a courtroom. Politics at play. Even before the affidavits released, Trump firing away from his keyboard. The political hacks and thugs had no right under the Presidential Records Act to storm Mar-a-Lago. This act was created for a very good reason, and it works. We are right now living in a lawless country.
I did nothing wrong. They brought many, many FBI agents in, all right before the midterms.
For Trump, it's served as a rallying cry for his opponents' frustration. As Axios reported recently, a source close to Trump says the fundraising effect has been huge, re-engaging donors in the biggest way since he left office. And his poll numbers also seeing a bump.
I don't see that this is necessarily going to change very many minds. People who have lined up behind Trump have been behind him. As he said, he could kill somebody on Fifth Avenue and he'd still have his supporters.
But many suggest there's much more at stake here.
We'll let the Justice Department determine that.
Did Biden and top staff influence the Justice Department or FBI's actions? And is there any reaction to potential criminal charges down the road for Trump?
We are not going to comment on any underlying materials, any content that is related to an ongoing investigation.
In the end, some experts say this could be a real distraction for Republicans going into the midterm elections, who'd rather be talking about the economy and inflation, but instead cannot escape the drama surrounding their former president. In Washington, I'm Scott Thuman.
Members of Congress are now waiting on a damage assessment of top secret documents taken from Mar-a-Lago. The released affidavit says the FBI found 92 secret documents and 25 marked as top secret. But there is still debate over whether those documents were declassified first by Trump before they were taken to Mar-a-Lago.
New reactions are coming in over Mark Zuckerberg's appearance on Joe Rogan and his podcast. The Meta CEO shared that Facebook had suppressed the Hunter Biden laptop story, but some were still able to share articles on the platform. Alexis McAdams brings us balanced news coverage.
On a podcast, Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook CEO, says they did keep the Hunter Biden laptop story up on their website, but limited its reach so not as many people saw that story. This came after Facebook says the FBI came forward telling them to keep a lookout for Russian disinformation.
Is the FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey, just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. There was we thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. So just be vigilant.
The interview has led to outrage against the FBI. Georgia Congressman Andrew Clyde also tweeting that this isn't just insane, it's election interference. The FBI responding, saying in part, the agency has provided companies with foreign threat indicators to help them protect their platforms and customers from abuse by foreign influence actors, but says the FBI cannot ask or direct companies to take action on the information received. On Joe Rogan's podcast, which was released on Thursday, Zuckerberg explaining that Facebook gave a task to their fact checkers to verify the claims about Hunter Biden's laptop. Meta, Facebook's parent company, downplaying the comments from the podcast, tweeting out, "As we've said, nothing about the Hunter Biden laptop is new," pointing out that Mark testified before the Senate nearly 2 years ago. At that time, Zuckerberg told senators that the FBI never mentioned the New York Post article about Hunter Biden's laptop. Now he says he doesn't remember. In New York, I'm Alexis McAdams, Fox News.
Google is now testing new ways to combat misinformation. Researchers at Google's Jigsaw division will soon field test something called pre-bunking. It's a new way to counteract misinformation. Ahead of its arrival, it will first be rolled out in Eastern Europe to help Ukrainian refugees identify misinformation.
Uvalde parents and community members demanding more accountability even after the firing of Chief Arredondo. Shimon Procupez has more on how the community is taking action.
This is a step in the right direction, but there's a lot more things that need to happen.
It's a moment of accountability that many in Uvalde had been waiting for, but many say isn't enough.
All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
The Uvalde School Board voted unanimously Wednesday night to terminate the employment of Pete Arredondo. The school district's police chief criticized for his role in the response to the mass shooting at Robb Elementary School.
We're going to continue our fight.
No justice! Many in Uvalde are also calling for the school board, the superintendent, and the entire school district police department to be replaced. All, in their eyes, partially responsible for failing to prevent the deaths of 19 students and 2 teachers 3 months ago.
You are not going to sweep this under the rug. 3 main failures. Number 1, school administration. Right there.
Before yesterday's meeting, Arredondo's lawyer released a statement with a request it be read aloud, calling the proceedings an unconstitutional public lynching and saying that Arredondo would not attend the board meeting over safety concerns.
So for him to not be here and actually to face the consequences to his actions? Exactly.
Arredondo has said he did not consider himself in charge during the May 24th shooting, but state officials identified him as the on-scene commander. The gunman was in 2 adjoined classrooms for more than an hour before officers entered and killed him. That time marked with chaos as no one took command.
Decide who's going to be. Call the shots.
Arredondo at one point trying to communicate with the shooter, contradicting law enforcement active shooter protocol to eliminate the threat.
Please put your firearm down, sir. We don't want anybody else hurt.
Families now receiving some accountability for that delay.
Does he expect to be in a small community and hold his head up high and say that he's going to protect and serve? That's simply just ridiculous.
So please bear with us in regards to that.
Vanessa Bryant's $16 million award has now been reduced after a mistake was discovered. The widow of the NBA star Kobe Bryant had filed a lawsuit against Los Angeles County. She claimed that LA officials took and shared photos from the crash that killed her husband and daughter. The jury later awarded the $16 million, but that is now being reduced to $15 million. This after a juror found a mistake on the verdict form. Vanessa Bryant has agreed to the change.
Facebook's parent company Meta has now reached a settlement in the Cambridge Analytica scandal. The lawsuit alleges that Cambridge Analytica paid a Facebook app developer for access to personal information of 87 million American users. That data was then used to target voters during the 2016 presidential election. The terms of the deal have yet to be disclosed.
A baby formula company is now resuming production of its most popular formula, Similac. The Abbott Company plant in Michigan shut down after 4 babies contracted a bacterial infection. The company says the strains of bacteria found at their plant did not match the samples from the infants who got sick. Abbott has since partially reopened the plant. The company estimates it will take 6 weeks for Similac to be produced and shipped to stores. A Chipotle restaurant in Michigan is now unionizing. It's the first of the chain's 3,000 locations to do so. Employees made the move to improve work schedules, increase wages, and, quote, gain more respect from management. Chipotle says it is disappointed workers at its Lansing location voted to unionize.
Very quiet start to the day out there, but eventually we are going to be seeing some wet weather push in. Lots of clouds overhead for the time being, but you see that rain gathering to our southwest. I'll have more details coming up in just a couple minutes.
Residents of Philadelphia getting an unexpected wildlife encounter. Wally, the emotional support alligator, paid a visit to the Park of Love to cool himself in the fountains. The reptile is also a TikTok star at just 7 years old. Wally's go-to treats are cheese puffs and raw chicken. And by the way, Phil, hopefully not, it is legal to own an alligator in Pennsylvania, just in case you were wondering.
It's legal to own a lot of different things.
Oh, and he's on a leash. Do you see that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see it. Did you see the size of the person holding it? The
Yeah,
alligator's
kinda small.
bigger than that girl.
Yeah, that's a little odd.
I prefer someone a little larger holding that leash.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. I get it from the alligator's perspective, probably.
That's a bucket list.
Happy as a clam. What's a bucket list?
Walk an alligator with a leash.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Not the other thing.
Invade a splash pool in Philadelphia. I didn't know which one was on there. Yeah, that'd be an interesting life experience, that's for sure. Pretty quiet start to the day today. Thankfully, not so hot that we're going to be needing any of those splash pads across the area. Looks like we might have a couple of showers trying to get going out to the northwest of Green Bay. But for the most part, the bulk of the rain still out to our southwest. Eventually, that does start to push into our neck of the woods, probably a little bit later this morning. I'm thinking once we get past about 11 o'clock or so. In the meantime, more clouds than anything else. Some peaks of sunshine, but in general, cloudy skies. Temperatures probably topping out around the upper 70s. That's typical for this time of the year, but below what we would normally see. Say it had stayed dry all day, we would probably easily bump up into the 80s, but that's not going to be the case. I think the clouds and the showers will kind of suppress temperatures a little bit, and we'll see the chance for scattered showers and storms throughout the afternoon. That doesn't mean it's going to rain the entire time all afternoon, but at any given point in time, you just have the threat for those being a possibility. Severe weather index is low. Showers and thunderstorms, again, possible through today, but I'm not thinking severe weather is a big thing that we need to worry about. Some of the stronger storms could have some gusty winds. I think torrential rains, though, are going to be the biggest problem with these as they move their way on through, especially, I think, with complex thunderstorms a little bit later tonight that could be sweeping its way across the state. For this afternoon, we'll see scattered thunderstorms developing, and again, it's not like it's going to be covering the entire area the entire time. Scattered is the name of the game. This evening, a little bit of a lull. We're going to see things dry out briefly, I think, right around late evening, especially past 7, 8 o'clock. But once we get past midnight, I think those storm chances start to pick back up. Complex of storms likely going to be sweeping through the state. I think it's going to be strongest out to our west, probably falling apart as it arrives. And so we'll see those showers and storms wrapping up by around 7 or 8 tomorrow morning at the latest. And then we dry out through the rest of tomorrow afternoon. And past tomorrow, not seeing any rain for quite some time. It could stay dry all week and even into next weekend. And not only that, after a very muggy couple of days, it's not so bad right now, but the dew points are going to increase. We are going to see the dew points fall back down to more tolerable levels as we work through the rest of the week. So it should be much more comfortable as well. Just got to get through these next couple of days. Right now, we're sitting in the mid and upper 60s throughout Wisconsin, seeing a little bit of sunshine in eastern Wisconsin, but again, those clouds will start to thicken up. You can see just out to our southwest, quite a bit of rain as you work down toward the cross. Scattered thunderstorms beginning to bubble up down toward Rockford and Janesville. So that's the activity that's going to start to lift north into our neck of the woods later this morning. Taking a wider view, you can still see there's plenty of moisture streaming in from that direction. The storm system is centered off to our northwest. So as this unsettled weather lifts through today, we start to see more humidity build in. Eventually, a complex of storms develops ahead of this cold front, this first front that moves through. That's later tonight. And then we see a secondary front slip through later tomorrow. That brings in the drier air and the relief for the humidity. So we'll see scattered showers and some storms through this afternoon into the early evening, drying out briefly this evening, and then you see a later overnight complex of thunderstorms thunderstorms arriving along that first cold front. That moves its way on through, but still muggy it looks like for the first part of your Monday before we see drier air push in over the back half of the day. 78 for your high today, showers and storms this afternoon, more humid. For tomorrow or tonight, a low temperature 69 degrees, cloudy with thunderstorms late, and then for tomorrow, partly cloudy, but still very muggy, high of 85. Much more comfortable by the time Tuesday rolls around, and it's really going to be a beautiful stretch of weather. Look at that. Generally sunny skies all throughout that time frame. We'll see temperatures up near normal, and that stretch of nice weather could potentially even last all the way through Labor Day weekend, so we could be dry for quite a while.
We're now less than 30 hours away from the Artemis 1 launch, and it's set to mark a new era of space travel.
Yeah, and hopefully the weather cooperates, and coming up, we'll take a look at the historic journey that it has ahead. You're watching Good Day Wisconsin. Try to pull up our Shauna weather camera this morning and see if that ends up cooperating. There we go, 67 degrees, lots of clouds out there, and we are going to see the chance for showers and storms picking up as we get through the late morning hours and throughout this afternoon.
Less than 30 hours from now, the Artemis 1 rocket will be lifting off.
The mission is going to mark a new era of spaceflight, and it's 5 decades after NASA's last trip to the lunar surface. Isabel Rosales gives us a closer look.
We do feel good about our attempt on Monday.
The countdown has officially started for the launch of the Artemis 1 mission to its historic lunar journey from Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The mission will test a new Space Launch System rocket, Orion spacecraft, and other components designed to make deep space travel safer for humans. 50 years after the last Apollo mission, the Artemis 1 mission is the first step in NASA's plan to return humans to the moon.
We're going back to the moon in preparation to go to Mars. That's the difference. 50 years ago, we went to the moon for a day, a few hours, 3 days max. Now we're going back to the moon to stay, to live, to learn, to build.
As the launch teams arrived at their stations at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida this morning, all eyes on any potential mishaps.
Our potential outcomes on Monday are that we could go within the window or we could scrub for any number of reasons. We could have weather, we could have technical issues, or we could have a range and public safety hold, and or a combination of any of those.
If it all goes according to plan, the spacecraft will orbit around the moon, traveling a total of 1.3 million miles over just 42 days before splashing down off the coast of California in October. For now, Artemis 1 is one step closer to the moon. Its first launch window is Monday between 8:33 and 10:33 a.m. Eastern. I'm Isabel Rosales reporting.
Students will soon head back to the classroom.
After the break, our very own Emily Deem is going to talk with a local busing company to see how they're getting ready. You're watching Good Day Wisconsin. Here's a look at our Appleton weather camera at 66 degrees and generally overcast. For now, things are dry, but as we get on into the afternoon, scattered showers and storms become a little more likely. High temperatures getting into the upper 70s.
Students will soon head back to the classroom. Many families rely on buses as a way of transportation for getting their kids to and from school. Emily Deem spent some time at a busing company in Kaukauna to see how they're getting ready for the new school year. Hi there.
Good morning. The start of the new school year is almost here. Cobeson buses, they're getting ready for the new school year. Enrique Hilgenberg is here with me this morning, safety manager. We also have Carly Trudeau. She is a driver. And Carly, you've been driving buses for what, about a year now?
Yes, I have.
And why did you get started?
So that I could bring my son to work with me, and because the hours are super flexible.
That is amazing. A lot of people are probably thinking about childcare and how much money it costs, but you're able to bring your child with you on the bus. Enrique, that has to be something that a lot of people are thinking, wow, can bring my kid on the bus with me?
Yes, you can. If the child needs a car seat, you just strap the car seat in the front seat here. We have seat belts. Yeah, it cuts down the daycare costs, you know. I have 5 kids myself. I know how that is. So, yeah.
It's a lot of things that families are thinking of. Okay, so even before the school year starts, you are actually going to go on kind of like a dry run of your route, correct? Tell me how that would work.
later in the summer before the school year starts, we will get our routes, and then we leave at the normal time, practice our route, make sure we know where all the stops are, and kind of get to know where we're going.
You pick up high schoolers and you pick up middle schoolers. What has changed for you this year from your route last year?
This year I have all of my usual stops. Last year one of them ended up getting cut off, but starting fresh this year, I do have all of my stops.
Let's talk about what you check before you go out on your route to pick up students. We see the hood is popped, the vehicle is on. What are you looking for safety reasons?
Walking up to the bus, I'm checking the tires, making sure they all have air in them. I'm going in the bus, starting it, turning on all the lights, checking the lights, making sure that all the fluids are full under the hood. Just to make sure that it's safe for all of the students for when they're getting on, and so that I can make sure all the lights work.
Absolutely. Talking about safety, Enrique, you're out there as well. You have your own vehicle, safety patrol. Talk about how you're also out on the streets just to make sure everything's running smoothly.
Right, yep. I do have my car. I'm out there checking, operations during the route. Make sure the drivers are following their routes, being safe, doing the procedures correctly. Also relating with the community. They see that and they feel good about it, that we're checking on the drivers, the safety of the kids inside of the bus, outside the bus, at the bus stops, relating with the school district and the principals. I go to the schools and talk to the principals, make sure, do we need anything? Can we do better? Are we good? The logistics of our buses navigating through the schools with all those kids out there, we gotta be safe. So.
If someone's at home watching, thinking, I do have some time, maybe I could become a driver. You say there are flexible hours for people. What are some of the benefits you want them to know at home that they could receive?
Yep, come apply. We're very flexible. We're offering a $2,500 in bonuses right now. That's for just coming, being here, not missing a day, and being a safe driver. So that's $2,400 referral bonus. If you refer somebody, he or she put your name on their application, that's $500 per person. So that's easy money. By just being a good salesperson and referring somebody, you can make $500, $1,000, depending how many you bring in. You can make money, extra money.
Can't beat that. Okay, go to our website if you would like more information. Maybe this is a career path for you or something you could do on the side if you'd like to.
Thanks, Em. You can send us your back-to-school pictures through our Chime In tab on fox11online.com. Stay with us. Good Day, Wisconsin. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Ashley. And I'm Lindsay. We're horticulturists from Green Bay Botanical Garden. Good day, Wisconsin.
Balanced news and severe weather coverage. This is Fox 11 News Good Day, Wisconsin.
This is paid for. It is paid for and far more by the amount of deficit reduction that we're already on track for this year.
The White House now pushing back on critics of student loan relief as the total cost of the decision comes into focus.
And severe storms have swept through parts of the United States. We'll look ahead at what's to come for our neck of the woods.
It is 8 o'clock on your Sunday. Good morning, and thanks for joining us. I'm Gabriela Primus.
And I'm Phil DeCastro.
And a little bit of showers coming our way, but that's okay because later on in the week, we'll have some sunshine.
We're going to have a lot of sunshine later this week, but for now, we're actually seeing a little sun still peeking through those clouds in Manitowoc. You see the buildings across the canal there from the Maritime Museum getting lit up by that sunshine. 71 at the moment, so we're warming up pretty quickly, but I think temperatures eventually stall out in the mid and upper 70s for your highs, and that comes as we see some scattered showers and storms developing this afternoon. But yes, we do have a much nicer work week on the way. I'll have more on that in just a bit.
Police are investigating a shooting in Fond du Lac that happened near West Johnson Street. Officers patrolling the area last night witnessed a person in the parking lot of Family Dollar shooting at two vehicles. Officers were able to arrest the 21-year-old male suspect at gunpoint after a brief chase and later took him to the hospital. A 32-year-old woman later arrived to the emergency room with a gunshot wound. Her injuries are non-life-threatening, but officers do believe it is connected to the parking lot shooting. No officers were injured, and the incident is still under investigation. We'll keep you updated on air and on our website at fox11online.com. Michigan's Governor Gretchen Whitmer has declared a state of emergency. It comes after an electrical fire at a BP refinery in Indiana. The refinery supplies up to 25% of the gasoline used in Michigan and surrounding areas. But the refinery is now offline, and it's uncertain when operations will restart. Governor Whitner's executive order temporarily suspends regulations to increase the state's fuel supply. She hopes it will keep fuel prices from spiking and cut down on gas lines. The order will stay in effect until at least September 15th. The factory that many blame for the infant formula shortage has resumed production of Similac. It's the first time the popular infant formula has been back in production since February. The Abbott plant in Sturgis, Michigan was originally closed after an FDA inspection detected a potentially deadly bacteria. An attempt to restart production this summer at the factory was put on hold after flooding during severe thunderstorms. Abbott believes it will take about 6 weeks for the new formula to begin shipping to retailers.
Residents of a Minneapolis suburb are cleaning up after severe weather last night. Many large trees were uprooted in Apple Valley, and one home was also damaged after a tree fell through the roof. The homeowner, though, wasn't injured, thankfully, and there are no reports of any other injuries. It's not clear yet if the damage was caused by straight-line winds or a tornado.
Mississippi is now bracing for massive flooding following heavy rainfall and severe storms. People are now preparing for the worst. Some locals are getting life possessions to safety, packing up moving trucks and helping neighbors. The Pearl River is expected to flood over early next week, and officials are telling people in flood-prone areas to be ready to evacuate.
Seeing showers and storms in other parts of the state, but not for us, at least not just yet. For now, things are just going to be generally cloudy this morning. Temperatures steadily rising their way into the upper 70s, but I think that's about where they stall out thanks to the development of some showers and storms as we start to get closer to midday. Throughout the afternoon, we'll see scattered showers and thunderstorm activity on and off. It's not going to rain the entire time, but the threat for it exists throughout the afternoon. I do think that activity starts to quiet down briefly for a period of time later this evening, but we won't quite be done with the wet weather. I think another chance for storms exists later overnight, but I'm not too convinced that we see a lot of severe weather, so that severe weather index is still in the low category. Still, heavy rain is certainly possible with any of these thunderstorms that move their way on through, and lightning, of course, also a threat with any thunderstorm that forms. Looking at our storm track right now, not a whole lot happening. You see that there's very little in the way of rain here, maybe a couple showers just out to the northwest of Green Bay. Most of that activity is still out to our west and southwest. We have thunderstorms bubbling up toward Rockford, Janesville, extending down into the northern suburbs of Chicago. And this is the activity that's going to gradually lift its way north toward us later this morning. So for now, things are pretty quiet. But again, later today, we are going to see that activity move off to the north. You see by noon, scattered showers, a few thunderstorms likely. Headed through the rest of the day, we'll continue to see the chance for thunderstorms bubbling up from time to time. Stopping this now around 8, 9 o'clock, you see again, a bit of a lull in the action around that time frame. And we won't see much happening, I think, until we get past about 2, 3 in the morning. That's when I think we have the chance for another complex of thunderstorms to sweep its way in from the west. This, though, I think is weakening as it arrives, so the best chance for any severe weather with that complex is going to stay out to our west. Still some gusty winds possible as it moves through, but I think mainly it's just going to provide some noise with the thunder and lightning and quite a bit of heavy rain. For now, things are dry, a lot of clouds out there with sun peeking through them. Temperatures already up to around 70 degrees, but that rain has not moved in just yet. This is riding along a warm front that's just starting to kind of nose on into the area, and as that front moves its way on through today, we're going to see that humidity really crank up, and it stays humid tomorrow. We're going to have one cold front swing through over the course of the overnight hours, and then a secondary front pass through on Monday. That finally gets that dry air to move into the area. So for now, tons of moisture with dew points up into the 60s across the western Great Lakes, back out into the northern plains. So it's going to stay humid for the time being. We've got to wait till late Monday to see that dry air really start to move its way on in. So for today, scattered showers and some thunderstorms likely through this afternoon. Bit quieter this evening before thunderstorms sweep in again to start your Monday. But by start, I mean like only until right around sunrise. After that, things will be dry. We'll see partly cloudy skies, and that drier air, the less humid air, will start to filter in at that point in time. As I mentioned, those dew points today will be getting on up in the upper 60s to around 70, so very muggy this afternoon, staying very muggy overnight. And to start tomorrow, those dew points are still going to be up close to 70 before that drier air begins to sweep in through the afternoon and on into the evening. Today, a high temperature up at 78, showers and storms possible, more humid. For tonight, a low temperature of 69, a muggy night, cloudy skies, storms possible toward morning, and for your day on Monday, a high of 85. Partly cloudy skies, still muggy, but it does dry out that evening, and we're going to see a beautiful stretch of weather after that. High temperatures getting into the 70s all of those days, which is right around where we should be this time of the year, and it should be very comfortable throughout that time frame as well.
NASA's unmanned mission to the moon will launch tomorrow morning. Artemis 1 is expected to launch from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. There's a 2-hour launch window starting at 8:33 a.m. Eastern Time. The spacecraft and the Space Launch System's core stage and 4 engines were going through final preparations yesterday. It's the first test for the systems for future moon landing missions. NASA also assessed the effects of lightning strikes to some protection systems yesterday. If all goes well, it will return to Earth after 42 days, splashing off the coast of San Diego on October 10th. Very cool. It's now your last chance to check out a popular art event in Northeast Wisconsin.
Yeah, after the break, we're going to hear from our very own Emily Deem about the final day of Art Street. You're watching Good Day Wisconsin.
You're watching Fox 11 News Good Day Wisconsin with Gabriella Primus and Phil DeCastro.
It's 69 degrees in Oshkosh, and those clouds look like they're starting to thicken up a little more, and we'll see generally overcast skies this morning before the chance for showers and storms picks up as we get through the afternoon. High today getting into the upper 70s.
Breaking news this morning from Door County. Yesterday evening, authorities were notified of a hit and run in Sevastopol. A 71-year-old woman was struck by a 2013 Ford Escape. After striking the woman, the SUV fled, but the vehicle later crashed into a fence. Police chased the suspect on foot and were able to take the 43-year-old Sturgeon Bay suspect into custody. The woman was taken to the hospital, where she later was pronounced dead. Authorities continue to investigate. We'll continue to bring you updates on air and online at fox11online.com. Happening today, it's your last chance to check out a popular art event in Northeast Wisconsin. Emily Deem spent some time at Art Street and has more.
Good morning, everyone. One day left to check out Art Street here at Ashwaubenon Park in Ashwaubenon. New location this year. We are talking to Dan Fenn. Yeah, he's not new to Art Street. Been coming out here for, what, about 30 years on and off. Why do you keep coming back?
Great customers. Love Green Bay. Great people. Great restaurants. Great bars. Great art shows. Always.
Keep going, man.
Great stuff here. That's why I come back.
It really is. Talking about great stuff, the artwork that you have out here. So you're a glass artist. You knew that you wanted to do this when you were a kid. And what we're looking at right now is kind of what you're known for. So kind of talk about the pieces you have.
And these are for the garden. I leave them outside year round. They're awesome, more awesome in the wintertime than they are in the summertime. And each one of them's handmade. They're made in midair. I don't use any molds, so they're all one of a kind.
Tell our viewers about that, what it's like to blow glass. It is unbelievable, right?
Yeah, it's magic, really. The glass is molten, of course, and it's really hot, and it's very demanding, and you have to do what you're going to do as quick as you can, because as it cools off, it stiffens up, and you don't end up with a good finished result, usually broken.
Well, I was going to say each one is probably unique, one of a kind.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Your wife, Deb, works with you. She's by your side 24/7. What is that like to have your wife travel all over with you?
That's awesome. I would spend any other time with anybody else in the world except for her. It's great.
Well, your stuff is great. You both do such a wonderful job. You can meet Dan out here at Art Street. We'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Em. Now time checking with Phil out on our weather deck. And Phil, how's the weather going to be for folks who want to go to Arch Street?
I would go early on while the weather is dry, because I think as we start to get past around 11 o'clock, things are going to start to increase, or the rain chances, I should say, will start to increase out there. For now, it's dry though, and there's actually a little bit of sunshine out there, but it's trying to get through clouds, so it's not completely sunny, and I think the clouds will continue to thicken up. You see, for right now, things are dry, but later this afternoon, we're going to see those clouds increase. 70 right now on our Fieldhouse cam, and highs today will top out in the upper 70s. Good day, Wisconsin. We'll be right back. .70 in Appleton, so we're starting to warm up out there, but it looks like the clouds are thickening up a bit, and scattered showers and storms will be developing as we work toward the afternoon. Highs will be in the upper 70s.
All right, take a look at this. It's not your typical bird sighting in an airport. A traveler at the Charlotte Douglas International Airport in North Carolina caught this scene. In a tweet, the Transportation Security Administration says the bird named Clark is part of the World Bird Sanctuary. The eagle was born there as part of a program that aimed to release the then endangered birds into the wild. Bald eagles were removed from that endangered list in 2007, but remain protected by a pair of government acts. Interesting sight. 3 service members who died in Iraq were honored in the Fox Valley. A new monument was unveiled for them yesterday in Oshkosh. Fox 11's Lydia Anderson shows us the memorial service for the fallen soldiers.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light
those who fought for our freedoms and lost their lives? This memorial serves as a promise to remember.
Sergeant Andrew Wallace, Private First Class Brent Vroman, and Captain Benjamin Jansky will forever be remembered with this monument at the South Park Memorial Complex. The 3 servicemen were all in their 20s when they lost their lives fighting in Operation Iraqi Freedom.
We don't remember whether they were PFCs or whether they were general officers. We remember Brent. We remember Andrew. We remember Ben. We remember a wrestler, a gym teacher, a father.
All 3 of these men had special connections to the city of Oshkosh.
Vroman was born in Oshkosh. Jansky was from Illinois but attended UW Oshkosh. Wallace also attended UW Oshkosh and was a teacher at Oshkosh North. President of Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 437, Dwayne Cannon, says this monument was a long time coming, and it's time to honor them.
I brought the idea up to him last year, and so something had to be done, and so our chapter worked very hard to get this organized. It takes time, and so it was a great honor to do it for these 3 individuals.
Each serviceman had family members from all over present that were able to take part in the unveiling.
It is so that we remember what these folks did for us. The sacrifice not only of the soldier or the Marine or the sailor or the airman, but the sacrifice of the families left behind.
In Oshkosh, Lydia Anderson, Fox 11 News.
This is the first monument at the South Park Memorial Complex for the Gulf War and the War on Terrorism. If you were driving between Bellevue and Grand Chute, you might have seen a parade of police lights yesterday afternoon. It was the 4th annual Law Enforcement Ride with the Lights event. 32 police departments took part in the ride, along with a large group of motorcycle riders and classic car enthusiasts. It's a show of support for law enforcement, but also a fundraiser for gift cards to help those in need during the holidays.
Whether it's a homeless man on the streets, we have homeless veterans living in their cars in the wintertime where they can't even keep them gassed up, all the way to families in need that can't afford Christmas presents.
Between this event and others, the goal is to raise $200,000 for gift cards for officers to hand out this holiday season. Genevieve Gorder is here with an idea to improve your smile without breaking your budget. Here's America's Steals and Deals.
The following segment is sponsored by Naki.
Oh, guys, it's time to talk about teeth. There's nothing more powerful on your face than a beautiful smile. But did you know that having a healthy smile has a direct effect on your overall health? Super Smile is a professional at-home teeth whitening system which removes plaque, stains, and bacteria. So your teeth aren't just getting whiter, they're actually getting healthier. Super Smile is the #1 whitening toothpaste among cosmetic dentists, and it was developed by a world-famous cosmetic dentist to the stars. It is the only brand powered by Calprox, a safe ingredient that gently whitens and cleans teeth without causing sensitivity. So many times you stop whitening your teeth because after a few days, it's just so uncomfortable. With Super Smile, you do not have that issue. So no more messy trays, just brush and whiten, and it's safe for natural teeth, veneers, caps, and dentures. You can restore them to the original color, and most people see results in just 5 days. And the teeth whitening gum, also with Calprox, is a great thing just to throw in your bag. If you have a cup of coffee in the morning, pop in a piece of gum, glass of wine, and take care of it with a piece of gum. What are you waiting for? Affordable, professional teeth whitening is now available right at home. And we have a really special offer today on Super Smiles. So take advantage of it. Take care of yourself. Go to asadeals.com.
Seeing some showers out to our south and west, thunderstorms developing down toward Janesville and Rockford, starting to work into southern Wisconsin. That's the activity that's going to build into our neck of the woods a little bit later this morning, so that's what you want to keep an eye out for. Temperatures getting up into the upper 70s today with scattered showers and some storms throughout the afternoon. Bit of a lull this evening, another chance for thunderstorms tomorrow morning, like before dawn. And then we should see a partly cloudy day. Still muggy tomorrow, and then once a front sweeps through and brings in drier air, look at that beautiful late summer weather through the rest of next week. And it looks like there's a chance that nice weather could stick around all the way through Labor Day weekend. You want to talk about a beautiful stretch of weather. I mean, it really does not get much better than that.
Well, I think I'm going to give Art Street another try today before the rain comes.
I would do that, yeah, before about 11 o'clock or noon, because that's when it looks like the shower chances start to ratchet up.
And if not, I'll bring an umbrella. It's all right.
There you
I'll
go.
survive, I guess. Well, thanks for joining us this weekend. Have a good day, Wisconsin.
See ya.